So in today's video, as you've seen by the title and thumbnail, we are starting a brand new game, and that game is Geometry Dash. So I played this game quite a lot when I was younger, and it looks like quite a fun game to try and recreate. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next, probably until the end of the year, I guess, depending on how long this takes. Hopefully not too long. We're not going to build out the entire game like we did in the previous game series. We're just going to probably build out one level and try and figure out how to do most of the physics and stuff between the different components in the game. So it should be a little bit tricky, but we can start with the fundamentals like getting the cube to move around, jumping up and down, and creating some obstacles that you have to try and avoid. And then from there, we'll take it and see what else we can introduce into the game. So it's got a lot of different fun colors to it. So here it is actually. Let's go and see what it looks like. So if you haven't played it already, the objective of the game is to start at the beginning. Let's just take this one for example. Start over here somewhere and avoid the triangles. If you land on the triangles, you obviously have to restart the level. So in this example, you would have to start over here, jump onto this circle, and then that allows you to kind of like double jump over these triangles, and you land on this square over here. From there you could probably jump onto there, I guess, or you could just drop down straight onto this bottom part and go underneath the triangle. And then later on in the series, depending on how far we get with this, if we can even make this, you can add in or introduce different power up things. So this is like a jump up, so you stand on there, it shoots you up into here, and then you turn into like a spaceship kind of thing, and then you start flying through the levels. But that is way down the line. We'll start with something very simple like this. So all you have to do is jump onto each square, avoiding these spikes that if you land on them, you have to start again, and so on. So we'll start like that, then introduce things like that, different heights, avoid obstacles like having to go underneath them, and then yeah, probably something like that as well. We'll see how far we're going to get. We'll try and make it look as close as we can to this, although my art skills are not that great, so we'll see how closely we can match it. But we're going to start in this episode by simply creating a new project, which I have done already. Here it is, just a blank 2D project in Unity. So in today's episode, we're going to start by creating a square that we can use like this, and then we'll add in some movement to that square, and then maybe even a jump for it. And then depending on how quickly we do that, we might even try and get the camera moving with it. So the main objective of today's episode is the cube movement. So let's go and get started. So to do that, we're going to make the art work from scratch. We could really just look it up on Google. Let's see what it has. Let's see what it has. Cube transparent. So we're going to have something similar to this. We could probably just go and make this. So I'm going to make this. Let's make this and make it look good. So I'm going to push this over here. Now, I don't really know what the size of this is. Let me see. I believe it's something like 300 pixels or something. Cube size. It doesn't really matter. Let's start with, I read somewhere it's like 310 or something. So let's start with that, 310 by 310, because it's a cube. So start with this, and then we will see what we can do when we import it into Unity. Also, ignore the background of my camera because I had to reset it, but I couldn't remember how I did it the first time, so I need to figure out how to fix that, because I updated my laptop and it's destroyed everything. So let's get back to it. So what we're going to do is we want to add in a square. So let's go 310 by 310, make it the same size. And then let's add some border to it. So this border, what are we making? Where's the picture? There it is. So actually, I'm just going to bring this over here, wherever that's gone. Let's make this a little bit smaller, so you can see what we're working with. So we'll put this over here. We don't need the whole thing, but this is what we're going to try and create. So how do we do this? Okay, so that's what we're going to make, but obviously it's not going to be tilted to the side. It's going to be straight up. So let's use this one. So that's what we're making. Are they the same? Yeah, they're pretty much exactly the same. So here is our cube. Now, what do we want to do? We want to add a border to it that is going to be black. So let's try and do this quickly so we can spend most of our time programming the movement. So we'll add this about 5. Let's see if is that big enough. Let's just make sure that this is perfectly situated like that. Let's get rid of the background. Now, that we could probably make it a little bit bigger. So let's make that about 8 maybe. Yeah, that should probably be fine. Bring that down so that we can see it and it's equal on all sides like that. Now, what else do we want to do? We want to change the fill of it. So the inside color to, I can't do that, but I'm going to use this to figure out what color this is. So pick color from web page. So that color is, did I not do that? Where is this color? There it is. That's weird. Okay, so we want that color. So that color is, what is that? F. Let's copy that. And we can put it in here. So this we can just paste there and that should fill it. Okay, so that's fine. Now we need to create these eyes. So let's go and create another square. So this is probably going to be about 20, I guess, by 20. Is that big enough? Okay, that's a bit too small. Let's make that 50 by 50 maybe. And then we'll add some black border to it. And then we'll increase the width of it to about 5, like that, something like that. And then again, I want to get this color. What am I doing? So we need to get this color. So now we need to try and figure out how to get that one. So this one is going to be, there it is. That one is, let's copy that. And the fill, we'll change this to a custom color of that one. Okay, so I'm going to make that border a little bit bigger. What's this one? This one is 8. Let's just make it the same. Or probably let's make it 7 and see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks good. We'll just copy and duplicate that. Now those are going to be, let's just lock this one in place. Those two we will put on the same line, which they're centered. And then we'll just place them in the middle like that. And then we could just copy and paste that and just make it longer like that and make that the mouth of the player. Something like that. I guess that's fine, but I actually want to change the border of this to about 12 because it looks a bit too small, and then we'll just increase the border of this one also to about 15, something like that. And then we'll just bring that in because that should fit, and then we can see everything. Okay, so that's good. Now, is this in the middle? It is in the middle. And then these are fine. So center those like that. That should be fine. So I'm going to save that, and I'm not going to save it. I will save it much later. So let's go and export this as a PNG somewhere into our game project. So this is going to be Geometry Dash in our game, and this is going to be under assets. Let's create a new folder called art. And then here we will put, what are we going to say? Let's just say face. But I'm going to create a new folder saying, what is this going to be called? This is going to be called cubes. Because we'll have, eventually we will have multiple, depending on how far we get into this game, we will introduce multiple types of cubes that you can change the look of it. Okay, so here's our artwork. Now we can bring this into here. Let's do this. Let's create empty. Where's 2D stuff? Do we have to install that again? Package manager 2D. Install that. Hopefully that doesn't take too long. So that should give us access to adding things like images and stuff. So there we can go and create a 2D cube that we can then control around the scene. So while that's doing that, let's go and say Unity add movement to cube. It's going to be a 2D game, so let's say Unity 2D. Okay, so that's done. Let's go and... Okay, that's not done. We kind of want it to be a constant speed. So what's happening here? Can we clear those? Hopefully those disappear. Okay, so let's try this again. So in our scene, let's go and create a 2D square. That's going to be the square. Now let's use the picture of our face that we just made. Can we type in face? That comes up? There we go. Okay, so that is much bigger than it looks. So let's change that to 1 by 1. Position 0 by 0. And then clearly that's a bit too big. Let's undo everything we just did. And then let's try that again. We might have to make it a lot smaller. So this square, can we see how big it is in pixels? I don't know if you can do that. No, not that I know of. So if we just put that back, let's say face. So it is much bigger. So 300 by 300. That's fine. Let's see. For our game, free aspect, we want to change this to, let's say, full HD. And then square, we probably need to change this to something that's much smaller because we don't want it that big. So let's go back to Photoshop quick and then just halve it. Because half will probably be like, that's probably also too big. Let's make it, what are we going to do? Let's go and say, let's go 100 by 100. And then we're going to need to change everything. So this is going to be 100 by 100. Bring that back here. The border is going to have to be reduced to about 2, I guess then. Nope. Probably something more. So let's try this. Let's go and say 5. Let's say 4. So we'll stretch that out back like that, and then all the way to the edges. I think that one's fine. And then we'll save that. Now these will have to have a border of, what is it? 4 as well. So let's say 4. Then we can change the size of it to, actually we can just scale it down like that. That's fine. This one needs to be 4 as well. And then this one is going to be 25 by, we'll make it a square. Although I don't know if it looks nice as a square. Let's make it like this, more like a rectangle type. So you know what I'm going to do to save us time? I'm going to do that, save that like that, delete that one, copy and paste that one, put that up there like that, and then we can get rid of that one as well, and then just copy and paste this one and put this one like, yeah, like this. Stretch this one out like that. Make sure it's in the middle, and then we can make these ones a little bit smaller. Something like that. And then put that in the middle over there. So I mean, it's not the best, but it should work. So let's go and export that. So we should just be able to export it as this one and override it. That way it should change it in here, which it does. Okay, so that's fine. That's cool. So now for testing purposes, I am going to create a new square. And this is just going to act as our ground for now, so that when we add in a collider and gravity and stuff to a rigid body to our face over here, it doesn't go flying off the screen. So that's fine. We'll keep that like that. We will later on change the the ground to make it look more like the geometry actual game ground. So let's see, how do I get rid of this? If we get rid of that, we will eventually make it look like this. Hopefully, that's the idea. I don't know how well that's going to go because I don't really know how to do that, but let's go and figure it out together. So, also kind of don't like this, but it's not important. I'll fix the artwork in my spare time, and then I probably will upload this game to GitHub just in case you guys want to download the assets for it. So just check down below for a link in the description for the assets for the, what am I saying? A link to the Unity, link to the GitHub repo so you can download the assets. I'll put that in the link in the description. So this is going to be our ground. Let's just rename this for now. And I'm also going to change the background of our camera to black because I don't like that blue. So let's just save this just in case we lose everything. So here is our square, and this is going to be our, let's call this our player for now, and then we'll add a player tag to that. I hope I'm changing the right one. Okay, so that's fine. So this we can go and add a rigid body 2D. It's going to use gravity. It's going to have a mass of 1, so that's fine. Let's just play this, and we need to add a collider onto our ground. So collider 2D, so hopefully that this should surround our entire collider, which entire box, which it should do. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so that's fine. Now we probably need to add a collider onto our player as well. So let's go do that. Box collider should be fine. It's now surrounding out the entire player. So if we play this, you should see the player now fall onto there. So that's fine. That's perfect. Now we need to go and figure all of these out. Burst failed to compile, function, pointer, int. Okay, I don't know what that means, but I'll figure that out later. So now what we have to do is we need to try and get movement for our cube. So what we want is we want to have a constant movement. So we don't want to control the movement of the player. We want the player to move continuously to the right of the screen in this direction towards the side. And then the camera will obviously follow the player once it probably reaches the middle of the screen. And then everything else, so like the obstacles and stuff, they will follow in the opposite direction, because obviously if you're moving right, everything is going to be moving behind you. So that's the idea. Let's go and try and figure that out. So on our player, let's add in a script. Let's just close all of these so that we have some more space. So let's go and add a player script, new script, player, create that, and then we can open that. So where is our script? Has it not opened? Here it is. So here's our script. Now we need to do a few things in here. So we need to, don't show that again. So what do we need to do? We need to get reference to, I believe it's the, of course we're not going to have our autocomplete. This is what happens when you update your computer. Okay, so that's going to be annoying. Serialized field. This is going to be annoying because now I don't know if it's going to have any errors or anything. So we're going to need a reference to our rigid body so that we can use the velocity on it and change that in the right direction. And then we can add a continuous movement into the right direction, which should allow us to move our cube towards the right. So let's see, what am I looking for? Hold on, give me a second here. Let me just look for a reference to this, just to save some time. Okay, because this is not going to autocomplete, I'm just going to copy and paste it from our previous projects. So serialized field, rigid body, that's going to be a rigid body. So we can simply drag and drop that in. So where is Unity? Here it is. This is going to be very annoying. I might need to figure this out and try and solve this for the next episode, because this is not really going to work now. So rigid body, we can drag that into there. Now we need to add some force onto our player. So let's go and see. We want to add force in the right direction continuously, so that when you start the game, there's going to be a button obviously to press play, and then as soon as we press play, this is going to start moving our player in the right direction. So let's go and say in our update method, I don't really know if this is going to work, but let's see if this works. So we'll see if this works, and if it doesn't, we'll stop the video here so that I can fix our autocomplete, because if we don't fix that, we'll be here forever. So we are going to say transform dot position is going to be equal, or it's not going to be equal to that, because we are going to want to continuously add it to it. So it's going to be plus equals, so that's going to continuously add. This is not going to work there because it's going to increase the speed of it. So let's try it and see it. Velocity, so it's going to be transform dot position plus equals velocity, or it needs to be rigid body, which is going to be rigid. It's so hard to program things without autocomplete. What a difference autocomplete makes. So let's say rigid body, what is it going to be? It's going to be, no, it's not going to be that. It's going to be, we're going to want to add a velocity to it. So let's go and say vector 2, I guess, because it's a 2D game. So vector 2, velocity. Let's just try this and see. We're going to set that equal to about, well, no, what am I doing? Velocity. Actually, I don't even think we need that. I'm a bit confused. So let's go and say we need a float, which is going to act as a speed. So float speed, because we want it to be at a constant speed once it's reached the speed. So we'll set that equal to 5 for now and see how fast that is. So here we can go and say vector 2 dot right, because I want it to move into the right direction, and that's going to be times our speed, and that's going to be times time dot delta time. So because we have no autocomplete, I don't even know if that's going to work, but let's go to our game and see what it does. So this is probably going to be the end of this episode, because as you can see, it doesn't work. So let's see, transform dot position is going to be equal, actually we need to, is equal to vector 2 times right. Let's see, does that work? Let's clear that. Let's play this and see what happens. So obviously I don't think that's going to work. So that doesn't do anything. Of course it doesn't. So on our player we have that attached to it. So let's go and see. Okay, so this is it's like trying to do something impossible here. So I'm going to figure out how to fix our autocomplete. And then in tomorrow's episode, or the next episode, whenever that is, we should have our autocomplete fixed and we can carry on with this game. So if you're enjoying this game series, not that you are, because we haven't really done anything, but if you want to learn how to make this game with me, please go ahead and subscribe using the subscribe button over there. And then if you haven't watched our previous game series, the platformer, 2D platformer, where we made a simple first level, fairly basic 2D platforming game, please go ahead and watch it. I'll put a link to that over here, some card somewhere on the screen over here. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.